How do you scale Agile in large organizations? In this video, we'll be discussing that and more. And my name is Josh Vector. I'm one of the founders at Product HQ. In this video, I'll be discussing strategies and tips that help large organizations scale Agile. But first, I'd like you to hit that subscribe button, and that way you'll get notified whenever we come out with great videos just like this one on how to build great products. Now let's go ahead and dive in. So I'll be sharing 5 tips on how large organizations win at scaling Agile. Now let's start with tip number 1. Understand the fundamentals of Agile processes. If you don't have a good foundation, well, you're not going to get anywhere. So whether you're practicing Agile at a small or large company, there are a series of practices that you must incorporate into your management strategy. Being aware of the integral processes in your Agile methodology is a first step in scaling this approach within large companies. Granted, this does not mean that you must have a detailed account of each step that your team takes during Agile methodology and how to execute it. Instead, it means documenting the standard processes that your team uses so that other Agile teams within your company use it as a template to approach Agile development. Think of this high-level overview as a minimum viable product, so MVP or working prototype that your team builds on as it grows and takes on more responsibilities. Then, with that high-level overview, other Agile teams that come along within the organization have a basic guide that frames the way they execute tasks and meet their overall objectives. Now, let's move on to tip number 2. Develop a working backlog. While you are on your journey to Agile transformation, creating a working product backlog is vital. A product backlog is a prioritized list of tasks that cross-functional teams need to complete to achieve a goal. And the more your company scales, the more complicated it gets for you to manage the backlog in its existing state. And in such cases, you must create a high-level master product backlog that accounts for the products within a given portfolio. While each product has its own backlog and product owner to groom and modify it, the master backlog serves to provide a high-level status update of all products. And this helps teams to understand how the progress of their tasks within a backlog compares to or affects other products within a portfolio. And moving on to tip number 3, let's talk about how important it is to develop a collaborative culture in your company. Achieving Agile at scale is not possible without developing a collaborative culture. A scaled Agile project involves self-organized teams working together to achieve a common goal. You need to break down silos and support a cross-functional team environment for better collaboration. Project members need to trust each other and be open to new ideas. Team leaders must be in constant communication with each other to provide updates on deliverables, milestones, and any other activity that affects the progress of other teams. And they need to feel comfortable communicating and working together towards a common goal. And be sure to encourage team members to share their ideas and give constructive feedback to each other. Now let's talk about tip number 4. Minimize the duration of your iterations. Keeping the iteration duration short is another crucial step for scaling Agile. Iterations are time boxes in Agile development that are 2 or 3 weeks long. A shorter iteration allows you to get feedback and make changes in a short duration. It also helps you assess the progress made by the team and identify any potential risks. And longer iterations lead to frustration and cause members to lose motivation. On the other hand, shorter iterations result in incomplete tasks and rushed work. So make sure that the project team has sufficient time to complete the tasks assigned to them. Now let's move on to the 5th and final tip. Support training courses and certifications. Training executives, developers, testers, and analysts on Agile methods is a vital step for implementing Agile at scale. And there are tons of books and online resources that help Agile teams learn more about Agile methodologies, just like this video here. And training courses are also a great source of information for Agile transformation. Scaled Agile Academy offers certification programs that certify an organization's commitment to scaled Agile frameworks, or SAFe. We at Product HQ also have our own courses in product management that dive deep into the best practice of Agile methodology. So make sure to check those out, and I'll link to them in the description box below. In addition to these tips I've discussed, I must add that there are 4 main frameworks that companies use to scale Agile at the organizational level. And they are Scaled Agile Framework, or SAFe, SCRUM at Scale, Large Scale Scrum, or LESS, L-E-S-S, and the Spotify model. Spotify is not considered a framework per se, so much as an example of Agile being deployed at scale. Now let's talk a little more about these. Scaled Agile Framework, or SAFe, combines Agile and Lean management principles to create an environment where Agile is an integral part of an enterprise. And SAFe takes the principles of Scrum that have been successfully applied at the individual team level and applies them across the company. This is done at 3 levels: the essential level, large solution level, and the portfolio level. And benefits of implementing SAFe are thought to be improved translation of executive strategy across a whole company, improved company culture, and improved employee engagement, among others. The Scrum at Scale framework is used when an enterprise has already had a measure of success in setting up Scrum at an individual level to solve problems and develop products. Critical to Scrum at Scale's ability to work is the concept of minimum viable bureaucracy. This reduces the number of roadblocks each team faces across a company as they work to create products and services. The large-scale Scrum or LESS framework grew out of the experiences of authors and consultants Bas Vodde and Craig Larman. They developed the framework out of the results of 600 experiments with expanding Scrum beyond the individual team level. And the advantage here is that LESS developed out of real-world application. Here, multiple Scrum teams work together to develop one product. While LESS makes use of multiple teams, it is designed to have even less bureaucracy and friction than Scrum at Scale. And here, there is a single product owner. While working on a project, all of the teams work in a single sprint. Scrum Masters may also have responsibility for more than one team. And the framework LESS can be broken down further into 2 additional frameworks. You have Basic LESS and LESS Huge. While it has been successfully used in large groups, the LESS framework is best used at smaller companies with smaller projects. And moving on, the Spotify model is often held up as a successful application of Agile principles at scale. Spotify is one of the largest streaming media companies in the world, and the Spotify model uses a similar structure to the Agile framework we spoke about, but there are different titles. Squads correspond loosely to Scrum teams, tribes are multiple squads working together, and there are also chapters, guilds, trios, and alliances. When Spotify adopted Agile principles, it chose to build them around the business that already existed. This was a different approach to others who used the Agile principles and values as a foundation for the business that they were building. And beyond these working groups, the Spotify model had very little formality, allowing for autonomy and creativity. Critics of the Spotify model say that the result has been difficult to replicate, and this is because the model is unique to the conditions of Spotify's business and culture. And when viewed from that angle, it's understandable that companies couldn't just repeat exactly what Spotify did and find success. Every company's culture is different, and this extends to a wider criticism made of Agile as a PM methodology. And change in the company's culture is vital to its success. If the whole company doesn't adopt it, well, it can fail. And Agile also has built-in qualities that make it better for some types of projects, industries, and companies. And Agile is best used for concrete products that are complex, novel, and take highly skilled people to produce. It does not lend itself easily to intangibles. And there you have it. We discussed Agile PM and the 4 different frameworks that can be used to scale it in large organizations. If you enjoyed the video and you feel like you learned something from it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you can get more videos on how to build great products. And again, my name is Josh. I'm one of the founders at Product HQ, and I'll go ahead and see you in some of our following videos. Cheers.